So welcome to the Apple Pub. I'm Raphael.
And I'm Emmanuel.
And today we'll be covering the Apple Watch.
Today's episode is brought to you by Interrupting Dogs. And now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
So yeah, the Apple Watch. It was designed with three main points in mind, and it was to be a timepiece first and foremost, a fitness tracker, and a communications device.
And the Apple Watch does come in three varieties. There's the Apple Watch Sport, which comes in anodized aluminum and strengthened Ion X glass. And then the Apple Watch, just regular, that one is a step up. And it is stainless steel with sapphire screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Apple Watch Edition comes with gold and rose gold. It's a strengthened gold, and that is going to cost you...
Too much.
Too much.
Yeah.
most of you won't be buying it, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. Considering it's only coming out in limited quantities too, I think it's only for the uber rich out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it also comes in two sizes for those of you who have slight wrists and larger wrists. It's 38 millimeters is the smaller size and 42 millimeters for the larger size. The 42 millimeter actually does, it is said to have a bit of better battery life, and I'm assuming that's just because they could put a larger battery in it because of the size. And so what's your overall take on the watch?
So there's a lot of aspects to this watch that there are things that are really great, I think they did right, and then things that are kind of just like, really, is that really marketed? But so the timepiece aspect of it, I thought that, it functions fine as a watch. The only thing that's a little problematic for me was I wish it was more water resistant or waterproof. But if it could withstand splashes and things like that, which it can, it has an IPX7 rating.
Which has some odd limitations of what it can and specifics of what it works with.
You could wear it out in the rain, but you can't go swimming with it.
Yeah.
So,
which I think is a bit of a, it should have been rated for swimming as well, considering one of the main points was to be a fitness tracker, being designed in California where you have pools and water and oceans galore everywhere. It might have been something that would have been helpful for your customers in the area.
We have a child among us.
Yes, a little white fluffy dress.
Hi. This is my pride and joy.
Yeah, my black counterpart is outside running around. Do you want a beer?
Yeah, for me, the watch had a lot of strengths and weaknesses, as with any device. I thought the battery life was one big limiting factor for me. The fact that, what was it, like 18-hour battery?
18 hours daily use, but I mean, it's not too bad. You will get a full day out of it of regular use. One of the things I do like how they did the charging, the MagSafe, like almost like a MagSafe charging device. And although it is slow, Android users have known about this for a long time. Anytime you have like the wireless charging, it's always been like that. But 2 hours is not too bad, considering you're gonna be charging it overnight too, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah.
Battery life was one point of thing. If I'm comparing it to traditional watches, but now this is a smart watch, it's a new category, so we kind of have to also judge it on its own merits for everything that it can do. Because obviously, if you're gonna have a lit screen and all these apps running and everything else, you're gonna have less battery life. That just comes with the package. So we don't really have much to compare it to besides some Android devices, and those lack in battery life as well. So
so it's in the same ballpark. It's not like it's amazingly better or horrendously worse. It's around the same range, so it's nothing special in that sense.
Yeah, and as a timepiece, they market it as like, it's so accurate to 50 milliseconds or whatever it was. To me, it's just I don't think many people care. We've had iPhones for so long, and watches kind of became like more of a luxury or fashion item that people have. Just timekeeping isn't an issue nowadays, but I do like the added benefit of just, being able to check, right away without having to pull out my phone, hit a button and check.
My only downside on that is the fact that it was supposed to be like a timepiece, and a timepiece always is visible. The hands of the watch are always visible, where in this case, it only turns on when you lift your hand up to look at the screen. And other than that, it's just a empty black screen the whole time when it's on your wrist, which understandably it's the first iteration. There are battery limitations. The technology just isn't out there for it to be able to last that long. So that is, obviously it's not going to last as long if it was on the whole time. That's just one of my downsides on that.
Yeah. So 18-hour battery life, 72 on power reserve, 2.5 hours to fully charge. But it charges most of the way in about an hour or 2 hours.
Hour and
a half.
80%.
So, but I actually like the fact that the display turns off. I know it doesn't look as nice when, I don't know, you're going about your day, but I only want it to turn on when I need to see it. As long as it's there when I'm looking at it, I don't care what it looks like when I'm not looking at it. That's just me. But I know that's kind of...
It goes against the whole timepiece thing. It just becomes jewelry at that point when it's just on your wrist. Until the point where you lift your hand up.
I just thought it kind of looked alright with the screen off. I mean, I haven't seen it in person, so it might kind of look very like it looks ugly or whatever. I don't know, it might. But as it is now, I'm getting the darker one, so dark dot screen works fine for me. But so that covers pretty much the timepiece aspect of it.
Yeah.
Customizable, always nice. You'd expect it from a smartwatch.
Which I actually find kind of interesting with the whole customization aspect of having all these different versions. Apple being Apple, where it's usually always, no, it's the one way or nothing. This is just like a step in a different direction for them, which is actually really nice, having all these options to go between different colors, different options, different bands for different styles. You can mix and match, even though if you get like the Apple Watch, or even if you were going the crazy route of getting the Apple Edition, you could mix and match it with one of the lower end bands and such. Which it's a nice feature to have nowadays from Apple, considering they usually don't allow that.
Yeah, and in general that is the trend. The iPhone 5C, we saw a glimpse of that, and it kind of hailed back to when the iMac was released.
Yeah, the old iMacs with the colors. Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's a personalized item, and they are marketing it as a fashion item because it's something you wear and it's a part of you. It's not something you put away in your pocket or.
Yeah, it's nice to have them go back to their old commercials they had, like referencing 1984, breaking from the norm. Don't be original, don't be like conformist type of stuff. Yeah. So it's nice to have that.
Yeah, and then what were the other two? There's communication and fitness.
Yeah, and the fitness. They have, what is it? It's two IR sensors. It's two, I guess. It's infrared blasters and two receptors that are able to track your heart rate, the calories you burned, and it also senses with the gyrometer, gyroscope, and such, accelerometer, the distance you're traveling, how much you're walking to calculate your calories burned and such.
And your pulse, that's another big one. So those sensors are on the back side of the watch, so it rests on your wrist. And I'm not much of a Fitbit fitness tracker guy. I might do it for a day and then never again, but I don't know, what did you think of how well they executed that?
Well, to me, being one of the main points, I feel like they could have done it a lot better. Considering none of the Android Wear watches right now are able to keep up with something like a dedicated, the Nike Plus watches or the Fitbits, it doesn't work as well. It could have been a feature they could have focused more on, in the sense like, it doesn't include GPS on it for battery reasons again, but it would have been great if it could have been just a standalone feature to have the GPS and tracker right on the phone. So when you do something like runs or your bike routes and such, it could actually even just track definitively the mileage you've ran, the calories you've gone. Because I actually used to use one of the Nike watches where you had the strap to your chest to read your heart rate more accurately and everything. For being like such a focus on it, it would have been an awesome feature to have, and it would have really put it out there different from all the other watches. It would have really made it like a step ahead of something Google has right now.
They definitely, I think they went with a more all-purpose device where it's kind of like, I could picture this in the future and all the aspects.
I can too. It's just I get it. Technology holding it back. But it would have been something cool that they could have focused on this time around too.
And if they made it as that, I think that was the primary focus, I'm sure they could have made a device and a form factor that would have done that one thing very, very well. But I understand they're trying to get a little bit of that and a little bit of everything else in. So I think it's an okay start. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
But I do see developers really doing amazing things with these sensors. I also think that some of those sensors aren't activated yet because of the FDA. I think there are some things that they've included in the watch that they haven't been able to legally activate yet. Because I know they were trying to get a blood glucose sensor and all these other things in, and I don't think either it wasn't ready for it or it's deactivated. Maybe it's not even in the device, but it looks like there's more than just a pulse sensor and a few others. So I could see someone, maybe their heart's beating irregularly and they could predict that a heart attack is coming, and then the device will just call 911 for you, or have a cop, know where you are if your phone is paired and just rush to you. So I see it like that. As far as being in shape, I don't know. I don't really use it like that. So that pretty much sums up the
So we have another guest joining us, my dog Sugar. So yeah, one of the other features of the Apple Watch was that it was designed to be a communications device.
Yeah, and for me, there were various ways it fulfills that aspect, but
and some odd ones.
Yeah, the watch has a capability where it could gently tap you. It's not a vibration. People won't hear it like they hear your phone.
It's like the taptic feedback they added into the new MacBook.
Yeah, and it's very subtle. No one else in the room will be able to tell. So you're able to send someone else your heartbeat, and the watch will tap at the same rate someone's heart is beating.
Which is kind of creepy.
Creepy?
A little creepy, yeah.
I don't think it's creepy. I just think it's like, I don't really need this. Maybe loved ones can do it with each other, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. But for me, it was just kind of whatever.
I actually think it would have been kind of cool if it was accurate enough to send like your heart rate to like a doctor. That would be a cool feature they could add to that. Where, just in case you need like for older people who have like heart medication and stuff like that, it would have been like a cool feature to
I'm
have.
sure the research kit has things like that, or the health app where you can kind of import your data in. But the main thing I love about the communications element, and this is one of the biggest things about the watch for me, is that you can get text messages and get calls on it, and also in some fashion you can reply to. You could send voice messages or audio messages. You could send...
or you could do what is it called? The touch...
Oh yeah, you can write stuff, and the other person...
Not just the write stuff, but you can tap someone and get them to notify you, or like notify someone by tapping them. And I will be that annoying ass friend that you had if you ever used the BlackBerry, where I ping you constantly on BBM. That feature, like, hey, pick up the phone.
And you would do that.
Yeah, that would be me.
I just like the fact that I could be anywhere and I could just go like tell so and so that I'm gonna be there in 5 minutes.
And you can also pretend to be a secret agent.
Yeah, you look like one most of the time. Yeah, but and it could convert to text, or it can just send it as an audio, and that is huge for me. I think that there's so much convenience in that. I think that's one of the main selling points for the watch.
Having Siri on your wrist.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Out of those three, that if I were to buy it, it would be for that and the applications that are going to be available after developers get their hands on it. So, which they have. They've already been developing a few apps.
Yeah, there's a few that they've mentioned, and we'll actually go over majority of the apps and such once the watch actually becomes available.
Yeah,
we're going to be doing a whole other review about what the future might hold, what's capable right now, and such. So we'll get to that within like a month.
So what do you think in terms of whether it's going to be a hit or not?
I honestly, like for people like you, I have to say, people who are very much into Apple and the culture and having the devices and wanting to be like in the tech. Hello, butterfly. So yeah, people who like that will really want to try it out. But for me, honestly, and again, nothing against Apple, I was really not into the Android Wear as well, and I have an Android phone, so that would be my way to get to it because it doesn't. I couldn't sync it with the Apple Watch, but it's not something that I was really into. Hey, buddy, you want to go?
It already requires an iPhone to work for a lot of the features.
Yeah.
So it already excludes a lot of people right from the get-go.
And I feel like that's something both companies really need to work at. It's like people like me, I like to switch around. You know, I would have liked to have like, okay, I could use the Apple Watch, but I would like to have it paired with, you know, my Android phone. It's like, why not? Give me the option.
And I see that as a benefit, but it could be that Apple is playing the strength here in this sense. Isolates people, but also forces them to get an iPhone in order to get the Apple Watch. So further gets you, locked into their
ecosystem, which obviously their ecosystem, it works well with their stuff. That's one of the reasons, but it's the same reason with the the Android Wear. There is nothing, to me, it wasn't special enough to be like, okay, if I am on an Android phone, to be like, no, I have to let this go just to get that watch. I think obviously, again, the technology just isn't there. Once it reaches there could be a reason to be like, oh, you know, something specific towards Apple where I really need this watch. But right now it seems like it's more of the same with a little bit of updates and a little bit of new features that might work a little better than they did on the Android Wear.
I think it'll be a hit, just because one, it's Apple. People line up to buy Apple before they... I mean, you've seen Jimmy Kimmel's skits where it's like, have you seen the new iPad? And they hand them like this huge display. It's like a TV or something. I saw that a while back. I thought it was hilarious, but it's gonna be a hit.
There's no doubt about it being a hit. It's just me personally, like people in my shoes, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to how meaningful will it be. Will it be like the smartphone where it just changed the world? Will it be like even the tablet? I think the tablet really took off, and Android followed. And
I think it's gonna be the same thing how it did before. Like you were saying, Apple has a great marketing team, a marketing standpoint, the way they do like show themselves to the world. It's really going to be a hit because of that fact. The fact that they're able to talk up their product so well.
Yeah.
And because of that, even though it is similar to Android Wear devices, it's going to be what gets the everyday person to pick it up and use it, and it's going to become a norm because of that. And that's, I think, one of the reasons that's going to push the technology forward.
Yeah, and emphasis on one of the key reasons, because I also think that Apple has a way of taking something that most people tried and failed at and making it work. For example, with the smartphone, I just thought, man, why didn't anyone do this before?
Mm-hmm.
And Steve Jobs comes along with a touch screen and completely changes the game. And
I think that obviously with even then, the first iPhone, it was a lot of people complained about it, but obviously it's the first iteration, it's the first time. And I feel like people shouldn't hold the Apple Watch to such a high standard to be like, oh, it's going to be amazing, and then kind of feel let down. You are the technology innovators. You are going to be the first ones to try it if you get this watch. You got to expect that it's a new thing. It's going to have its issues, but they're going to fix them down the line.
And I'm actually waiting for the second one so they work out the kinks, maybe get a little better battery life and things like that. But
even just waiting. To me, if I was going to get this, I would wait at least the first couple of months, because obviously there's going to be something someone's going to find, and there's going to be like a software release or an update that's going to fix the issue.
And they're
just like all with any product.
Yeah, and their lead designer was saying that this is a unique experiment or project they took on, because when it came to smartphones, a lot of people weren't happy with their devices and the way text messaging was done, how much fragmentation there was in terms of software. Verizon had their own stuff, AT&T had it. It was just a nightmare. And when they came in, they had a very clear idea, like, this is what we want just for the phone. The Apple Watch is a little different because they're already content with how a watch functions, and it seems like they're still trying to figure out where this will fit in our lives, specifically as a watch. I think the reason it'll sell, but the way it'll redefine our lives is as a very convenient, at a glance source of information. But more than that, it's going to be able to do so much in terms of activating things. And what I mean by that is, let's say HomeKit, Apple announced, where a lot of smart devices are making their way into our homes. So I think that in the future, the next 5 years, we're going to see this push towards your watch having control over your lighting or your garage door or starting your car, starting the heater, just stuff like that, you know. So
my only issue with that is by the time that probably comes out, we'll already be in the second iteration of the device.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Anyway, what are your final thoughts and rating on the watch?
Honestly, like I said, it's still a lot of the same for me. And me personally, and this is not just me hating on Apple or anything, I was never a big fan of any of the, you know, Android Wear or anything like that, because it's too much of this. Like, it's just like putting everything you have on your phone on a smaller screen, which was the main reason I left, you know, iPhones in the beginning, was I wanted a bigger screen.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to rate it a 5, mostly just because, like I said, it's just not something that's gonna make me want to buy it.
For me, it's an 8, of course. Yeah, I just think that it's a great start. I think that they got the ball rolling on something huge, and as time passes, it'll become more and more integral. But right now, I get it. Like, as a device right now, it is in its infancy. More apps need to be developed for it, but it'll be capable to run those apps when they come. And if I had the money, I'd buy the first one straight out. But
yeah, like I said, like as it is now, I would, again, if I had the money to have like a new gadget to try out and, you know, mess around with, sure. But it's not something that I'm really need to just go out and buy right away.
It's like the iPad 1 for me. It's a great start. I'm just gonna wait till the second one. But overall, I think it's a great device. Obviously has some few limitations, but I think they did a really good job at defining a new category. So.
Yeah. So when the what is it, on April 10th is the pre-order for the Apple Watch. The 24th
release date
is the release date. And actually around that time, once it comes out, we're going to be coming out with a full review about the software within it and what could possibly be coming out in the future. So if you want, subscribe so you can catch that video when it comes out. And if not, you know, like the video, comment us down there, and we'll just get back to you with any any questions you might have, or, you know, any suggestions of things you might want us to cover. Yeah. So yeah, until then, now let's say bye to everyone. Bye-bye.